Ideas, techniques, tips, anything that might help out in your studying routine is the goal of this video. So let's get started and see what we can find. The first thing I want to stress is everyone is unique as they're studying. Everyone learns differently. So as you're studying, what works for one person might not work for someone else. So you might have to try a few different things to figure out what works. But keep at it, keep trying. When you're studying, a lot of times shorter duration is better. 45 minutes has been shown to be the optimal maximum time. If you hit 45 minutes, take a break, come back. But try to keep it in shorter chunks. Spread out your studying. If you study on Monday, Tuesday, and Saturday, maybe try doing it Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Even if it's 5 minutes. By spreading it out, it allows you to do shorter pieces and helps you retain more information. Exercise, relax. It's one of those things where as you're getting ready to study, sometimes this helps to ease and relax your mind. So even a 5-10 minute little exercise, or take 10 minutes just to stop, breathe, relax, and then get going. Helps your mind get ready and be in the right frame of mind. Snack. Now, if you just had a meal, you probably don't need a snack, but if it's been a couple hours, you're feeling a little hungry, grab a healthy snack. It helps provide fuel to the brain, which helps you learn more and remember more. Study time. Well, study time can be any time of the day or night. Everyone has an optimal study time. The trick is to figure out when it is. Sometimes people study better in the morning, sometimes they study better in the evening. So try out different times, see what works for you. Where do you study? This could be anywhere from on your bed, which could be nice and comfy, but be careful it doesn't make you too comfortable and you start falling asleep. The couch. Might be a lot of distractions around, or it might be nice and quiet. Depends on a preference. But wherever you're studying, if you're starting to feel drowsy or starting to feel like it's too much, you might need to take a quick break. Just something to get up, move around, wake you back up so your brain is ready to think. But one of the key things as you're studying, get rid of distractions, especially the cell phone. Because if you're studying and you keep hearing it vibrate or chime, you keep checking, you're interrupting your studying and not maintain the same amount of focus. So get rid of the distractions, create your optimal study environment. When you're studying, a lot of times study a piece, not the entire thing. Looking at some pictures here showing the muscle of the body. If you try to learn all these at once, it might seem overwhelming. But get rid of half, hey, that's more manageable. Or break it down maybe just to the arm. Learn the arm, then move on to another part of the body. By breaking it into smaller pieces, it helps make sure that you know the material before you move on. Makes it more manageable. Questions. No, it's not questions of me, but questions you ask of yourself. As you're studying, try to think about what questions might be asked on the upcoming exam, or what questions could tie different parts or pieces of what you're studying together. By asking questions and then figuring out those answers, you're helping to make connections based on what you're studying. Explain it out loud. This could be to a family member, a friend, even talking to yourself in the mirror. But simply verbalizing and explaining a topic helps your brain think in a slightly different way. Plus, it allows you to see where you stumble or where you pause. Those are the places that you need to work on learning more about. Study partners can be great, but one of the key things is you need to keep on task more than not. So help each other out. A lot of times studying with someone can help you fill in where you're weak and you help them where they're weak. Music. This can go two different ways. One, music can be used as just a background, like a white noise. Maybe it's you're using sounds of nature or waterfalls or rain or something, just enough to have something going in the background. Two, some people use music to study by. They put on certain genres based on what type of topic they're studying. One of the key things to keep in mind though, I would not suggest using music that you get caught up and try to sing with. That will defeat the purpose. It'll draw your attention away from it. This needs to be music in the background that's not holding your attention. Color. Sometimes color works as you're taking notes or your study charts. You put color based on different things. Maybe one topic is one color, different topics, different color. Or maybe you're studying like the example we had of the muscles before. All the muscle names are in orange. All the actions are in blue. All the innervations are in green. The idea is you can break it down however you want, because sometimes that color helps trigger your memory of what it refers to, what it is. Flashcards. Now these can be great for some individuals, but some people they just don't work for. Again, you gotta try it out and see. As you're making your flashcards, don't just write and not pay attention. Think about what you're putting on there. Think about what's in the front, what's in the back. As you're doing that, that's a form of studying. Then as you use the flashcards later, you're forming a different type of studying as you go through the flashcards. Labeling. If you have graphics that have all the labels already on them, maybe you need to print one out, and then you can put it in a sleeve protector, one of those page protectors. Use tape to block out the names, or sticky notes to block out the names. Dry erase pen on the page protector allows you to use it over and over while labeling. If you happen to have a picture that's not labeled, you make your own labels. You draw your own lines and label what you can. Key thing is, as you're labeling and going through these, try to do it without referencing a list. Because again, you have to study based on what your exams will be like. If your exam is going to be a fill in the blank or just everything out of your mind and you don't have a list to reference, make sure you get to that point where you are not referencing a list. Ordering. Again, go back to these flashcards, but now we're going to use them a little bit differently. Now in this case, you might have a whole process or you might have a whole topic that has steps in order. Well, if you write the steps out on the different flashcards, you can shuffle them up and then try to put them back in order based on your learning. Eventually, once you get them in order with no problems, hopefully you can then just simply, without the flashcards, go through the process and just think about all the steps. Mnemonics, sayings, songs. Anything that helps get something caught or stuck in your mind works out well. You can use acronyms, Roy G. Biv, colors of the rainbow. You can use rhymes, I before E except after C, at least for most cases. Phrases, oh, once one takes a NAMI final, very good vacations are heavenly. Each first letter matches up to the first letter of the cranial nerves. Or make something personal. If something that ties into what you are interested in or something that's happened to you, the more personal, the easier it is to remember it as well. Or drawings. Sometimes graphics can help you figure out and remember different parts and different pieces. The key thing is figuring out what works for you. How does it make it stick in your mind? Writing notes. Now, notes can be great if they're done the right way. If you're simply just copying things over and not thinking about it, that's not really beneficial. What you need to do is, as you're writing your notes, think about what you're writing. Try to comprehend what you're writing. If you can, as you're writing those notes, try to tie that into other parts that you just wrote previously. Try to make the connections of the different parts and pieces. Associations, examples. This looks like a lot of dots together, but if you put a dot for every one of these red dots and said, okay, this is one thing, this is part two, this is part three, and you make a mapping of how they work together, it might help you build the different associations as you study. But the idea is trying to put pieces together. There's something referred to as the Leitner System. Now, you can see in the graphic there are 5 boxes. The purpose here is you start with all of your flashcards or note cards or whatever in box 1. As you go through them, the ones you get correct, go to box 2. The ones you get incorrect, stay in box 1. Then you take the ones from box 2, go through them again. The ones you get correct, move on to box 3. The ones you get incorrect, go back to box 1. And same thing happens as you go on and on. The cards that you know will progress through to step 5. The cards you don't know keep heading back towards step 1. The cards you're okay with and sometimes you get and sometimes you don't, they kind of float in the middle. This allows you to see which ones you need to work on, the lower numbers, and the ones that you are more readily able to get, the higher numbers. Just again, one possible option for studying. Mind mapping. Now, mind mapping can go a ton of different ways. As you can see from this graphic, sometimes you have thicker lines and thinner lines. The thicker means more important. Uppercase and lowercase. Uppercase is more important. You can use different colors to represent different topics. You can have different ordering hierarchy, where you only have 3 branches off of every line, and then 3 branches off of that. The idea is you kind of feel out and figure out what your connection is. One of the most important things is to do this. Start with the main topic in the middle and always branch out. But try different ways. See what works. Don't overdo it. If you reach your goal, stop. So for example, if you were spreading your information out over the whole week, and you'd say, okay, on Monday I'll do this, on Tuesday I'll do that, Wednesday I'll do this. If you have a goal and you meet it, and it's before the amount of time you expected, stop. You know you have time to do the rest of them because you've already planned it out. One of the biggest things you gotta be careful about is to not overdo it. Just because you studied everything and you got that chunk for that day, don't assume, oh, let's go and do the next day's material too. Doing too much might actually confuse and mix up some of the information you already had. So now everyone has different limits of how much they can do. The key is to figure out what is your limit, when do you need to stop, and not overdo it. Finally, mix it up. If your study routine is working, but then all of a sudden isn't working as well, maybe you need to mix something up, change up the study routine, change up the time of day, change up location, change up your methods. But try something to kind of refresh and get back to that efficient studying that you had. Studying is unique. Give it a try something new, see what works.